Conversations with Azu Ishekwele.
I'm sure you remember Michel de Nostradam, better known as Nostradamus, the 16th century French astrologer and seer who wrote a book predicting future events. I'm not about to tell you the story of Nostradamus, but I'm about to bring to you our weekly diary on life and politics. And I take a deep dive into the column What to Expect in 2025, as written by Azu Ishekwele, who incidentally calls himself a part-time Nostradamus. With me in the studio is Azu. Azu, you're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, sir. What to expect in 2025? We've done this serially over 5 years.
Yeah.
At every last week of December or thereabouts, we bring up expectations in the coming year, and a lot of the time you hit the bull's eye. And what is it that drives this passion?
Okay. Thanks for that. Let me talk a bit again about Nostradamus. And interestingly, you started your intro with that. And what Nostradamus said about 2025 in his book, which you put The Prophecies, which you started off with that. He said about 2025 that it will be a year of global crisis, severe economic crisis, climate change. And he also said that there will be serious health plague and serious health crisis in England. Interestingly, as of today, England has had the worst recorded cases of flu, since records started. So I'm not saying that, but just to give you a sense. But of course, also in Nostradamus' predictions for 2025, he said that there will also be significant technological advancements. So, but we are not here to talk about Nostradamus, who now appears to be my role model in this matter, but about what I wrote titled for this week, entitled "What You Might Expect in 2025," which, as you said correctly, is what I have done in the last 5 years. Since actually, this is the 6th year. Actually, I started in 2019. So I think that I have what I have done in the last 6 years is to use the benefit of the contacts that I have, persons that I speak with, and also some of my residual knowledge about politics and current affairs to take a shot, if you like, at what might happen in the course of the year. And as you said, I'm gratified that I've been more right than wrong.
There's a rush of such prophecies at the end of every year, especially coming from the religious quarter. Does this in any way influence your own?
No. Of course, there are people who make predictions, as you said also correctly. Those who clerics, who also, they are taking some sort of ecclesiastical or divine insight into, they've been given divine insight into. No, that's what I'm doing is a totally different. I do not have any claim to any divine
crystal ball.
any divine crystal ball on the basis of which I make my forecast. As I said, my forecasts are made essentially on people who are very deep in either politics or government, or some very, very well informed people or experts in their different fields that I speak with, based also on a certain minimum amount of research and on my residual knowledge on a number of subjects that I've spoken about or that I've.
Yeah, okay, so let's come back to some of the things you've said about politics in your column before we go to other subjects. You said the attempt to form a common front against the ruling or progressive Congress is not likely to, make any headway.
Yes.
On what basis do you feel this sure?
On the basis of history, and also on the basis of, as I said, conversations that I've had with some of the persons involved. It's interesting what politicians do often, and I think people take politicians a bit too seriously. than they should. When you see them having meetings, the media creates the hype that there's already there. I don't think that people should take. It's a free, you like a free country, and the freedom of association. But politicians do all of these things to send some sort of signal, and they know what they do. They themselves are just as uncertain about the outcome as the people that they are trying to pretend to that they are going to have some outcome that will be dramatic or earth-changing. There's nothing of the sort going to happen, at least not as far as I see. The meetings that have been going on in respect to some sort of coalition or meetings that are being held with the obviously with the intention, if you like, of giving the APC
A good fight.
a good fight and a wrong fight. They are there's no. I can't see any evidence of seriousness.
Like they tried to detect for.
I cannot see. There's no evidence of other than people just having a meeting in, some. There's no that. It takes more than. I'm not suggesting that people are. It takes more than just people having a meeting and issuing press statements or asking the press to cover that meeting for us to take it that there is a real serious plan to give the APC a run for its money. I do not see that happening in 2025.
Economically, the Dangote refinery is finally working, and the federal government reports that the Port Harcourt refinery, one of the Port Harcourt refineries, is in production, and that worry has also come on stream. Do you think in 2025 we're likely to see lower oil prices, which will have
Well, as I said in my column, that I think the federal government's ambition of going from the current production level to 2 million barrels per day and benchmarking the 2025 budget at $75 per barrel. I think that's a bit over ambitious, to be honest. I think so. You see, that space has changed significantly. That space often obviously responds to, especially spikes, will often respond to crisis, either amongst oil producers and things like that, or quota cutbacks by OPEC and so forth and so on. But today, that hydrocarbon space, especially as far as it concerns production of crude oil, has changed significantly. The US is by far the single largest has the single largest reserve, and and it's also a significant consumer. Of course, you'll be looking to places like China as new markets, and thinking that perhaps the situation between Ukraine and Russia and Ukraine might also, or the situation in the Middle East might significantly. I do not, especially with Trump, coming in on. I do not see any significant because conflict spots may not be the same as they have been in the last 1 year, at least in the period before Trump is going to come. And I would, if I had my way, I would have been more conservative in terms of benchmarking. But of course, it's not my call, and this call is made. So we'll wait to see what happens.
Well, you just mentioned Trump, and you said we're not likely to see the mass deportations he has threatened.
No, we are not.
Okay, I think also that Trump will happen to be the biggest issue in 2025, and for obvious reasons.
Well, those who have so predicted have their reasons. But you see, there is nothing that Trump will do that would surprise people. I mean, the world is no longer a stage where Trump's actions will lead to people saying that they're obviously surprised. I've also heard people say that because it's his second and hopefully final term, that he probably will do a lot of things that he was hesitant to do in his first term. But I don't think so. I think that there are still institutions in the US that will, and also the US is a very litigious society, and a certain degree of freedom in the constituent states and in some of the institutions that will make it a bit more difficult for an unguarded Trump to run amok, as he probably would love to do. But we'll wait and see. do not think that as far as the mass deportations are concerned, that you'll be able to, round up and throw and kick out the thousands of undocumented immigrants that you are threatened to do, even using the army on the first day. I doubt it. I think that he would find that there are institutional guardrails that will make it a bit more difficult for him to do as he pleases. But then nothing Trump does for me, and I'm sure for those who have elected him, should surprise.
All right, I'm back home, and that would be my final question. You seem sure that elections coming up in November in Anambra State will relatively be maybe work in the path of
Yes, it will be, because if you look at Anambra, it's still significantly the playground of APGA, the ruling party. And even though PDP and APC have, installed snipers, they will find that nothing they do will significantly affect the chances. Turnout for reasons of security and safety might be an issue, as indeed it was in the first election in 2022. But I do not see any significant challenge to the re-election of Professor Charles Soludo for a second.
Thank you very much, Azulu. And if you've been following us for the past 5 years and for the 6th year now, like I said earlier, you will discover that behind some of the forecasts that Azul gives are scientifically, reliable information that you can take to the bank anytime. And it is not different from this. Just take your time and visit azuishekone.com, where you will find the videos and the column to read and get deeper information, so you can keep in tune with our weekly diary on life and politics. Thanks for coming on the show, Azul.
Thanks for having me.
Bye for now.
Conversations with Azu Ishekwele.